All right, so you ready for a deep dive today?
Always. Where are we headed?
This time, we're journeying to Middle-earth.
Sounds exciting, but...
But we're not just taking a casual stroll through the Shire this time.
Oh, okay.
We're peeling back the layers of The Hobbit
I like it.
to uncover
Uncover.
what makes this world tick and what Tolkien might be telling us about our own world through his intricate fantasy.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because fantasy often acts as a mirror, right?
Totally.
We get swept up in adventure, but
Yeah.
if we pay close attention, we start to see reflections of our own desires,
Yeah.
societal structures, even our understanding of courage or what makes a hero.
And Tolkien was a master at hiding those deeper layers beneath the surface of what some might dismiss as just a children's story, right?
Right.
But for this deep dive,
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning, shall we?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so we're introduced to Bilbo Baggins.
Okay.
He's a hobbit who enjoys, let's just say, his creature comforts.
Who doesn't?
I mean, who doesn't love a good cup of tea and a well-stocked pantry?
Exactly.
And he's described as a very well-to-do hobbit,
Okay.
content with the predictable life expected of a Baggins.
And that's a crucial detail to note, isn't it? The text emphasizes this idea that being a Baggins carries a certain weight.
I never thought about it like that.
They're almost imprisoned by their own reputation for respectability, bound by these invisible societal expectations.
It makes you wonder, how often do we limit ourselves because of what's expected, what's considered proper for someone like us?
Right.
It's almost as if their family name becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
But then Tolkien throws in this intriguing twist, Bilbo's Tookish side,
Oh, right.
where we're told the Tooks have a touch of the adventurous,
Yeah.
the unpredictable,
Yeah.
even whispers of fairy blood in their ancestry.
Really?
It's like this internal tug of war between nature and nurture playing out within Bilbo himself.
That's precisely what makes it so compelling.
Right.
Tolkien doesn't simplify it, does he? This isn't just a case of he's adventurous because he has fairy blood.
It's more than that.
It mirrors the complexities of our own lives.
Right.
We're shaped by our genetics, our upbringing, the societal pressures around us.
For sure.
It's never a simple equation.
Never. Never, ever.
And into this seemingly idyllic, if a bit too predictable existence,
Yeah.
bursts Gandalf.
Of course.
Talk about a catalyst.
Right.
It's as if someone threw open the windows of Bilbo's tidy hobbit hole and let in a whirlwind of possibilities.
He's the embodiment of disruption, wouldn't you say?
100%.
Gandalf forces both Bilbo and the reader to confront the unknown,
Yeah.
to question those comfortable boundaries we build around ourselves
And we all do it.
all the time. And that theme of disruption as a catalyst for growth.
Yeah.
It's one that resonates throughout the entire story, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like Tolkien is saying that real growth, real change, rarely happens within our comfort zones. You got to get uncomfortable.
Exactly.
No,
But Gandalf isn't the only one with a story to tell.
that's right.
We also have Thorin Oakenshield
Yes.
and his tale of the dwarves,
Okay.
a people robbed of their heritage, their wealth, their very identity.
It's sad.
The way Tolkien describes their lost kingdom,
Yeah.
almost heartbreaking.
What's fascinating is how Tolkien uses Thorin's tale to explore larger themes like the cyclical nature of history
Oh, wow.
and the seductive danger of greed,
It's interesting.
the dwarves' history, their craftsmanship, their wealth.
Yeah.
It's all reduced to ashes by Smaug's avarice.
Wow.
It serves as this potent warning against the allure of material possessions, even for readers who might think they're beyond being tempted by a dragon's hoard of gold.
I love that. Yeah, it's like that saying, right? You can't take it with you.
Right.
But sometimes I think it's the letting go that's the hardest part,
Oh, for sure.
especially when it comes to things like legacy and belonging,
Yeah.
which really is at the heart of Thorin's quest, isn't it?
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
and Tolkien masterfully uses language to evoke that longing.
It's true.
Think about the way he describes the Lonely Mountain, the dwarves' craftsmanship, even the sound of their songs.
Oh, yeah.
It's all designed to create this visceral sense of loss, a yearning for something that's been stolen.
Yeah.
You can't help but feel Thorin's desperation to reclaim what he believes is rightfully his.
And speaking of the journey, Bilbo and the dwarves face a whole gauntlet of challenges.
Oh, yeah.
Trolls, spiders, goblins.
Right.
It's a good thing hobbits are tougher than they look.
Well, and that's an important point, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
those external challenges often serve as mirrors to the internal struggles the characters are facing.
Yeah, I like that.
Take the trolls, for instance.
Okay, yeah.
On the surface, they're these lumbering oafs.
Right.
But they also embody this brute force of ignorance.
Okay.
A lack of perspective that can be just as dangerous as any physical threat.
And they're easily tricked by Bilbo's quick thinking and resourcefulness.
Right.
Which is something we see emerge more and more as the story goes on.
Definitely.
It's like those perilous encounters force him to tap into strengths he never even knew he had.
He really rises to the occasion.
He does. And then, of course, there's Mirkwood Forest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even the name sounds ominous.
Such a good name.
It's like this embodiment of fear and uncertainty, this place where your worst nightmares can become reality.
And isn't that often how our own internal fears manifest?
Oh, wow.
The unknown becomes this breeding ground for our anxieties or doubts.
Yeah?
Tolkien takes that very human experience and externalizes it,
Right.
creating this tangible representation of those internal struggles within the physical landscape of Mirkwood.
Like every step through that forest is a battle against not only external dangers,
Right.
but also those insidious voices of doubt and despair that can creep in when you're far from home facing the unknown.
Yeah, it's that feeling of being completely out of your element.
Yes. And of course, lurking within that darkness is Gollum,
Gollum, yeah, such a great character.
a creature shaped by his own desires, consumed by his obsession with the One Ring.
Gollum is such a pivotal character, don't you think?
Yeah.
He represents the potential darkness that lies within all of us.
Oh, wow.
The seductive power of greed and obsession.
It's true. But even in Gollum, Tolkien offers a glimmer of hope.
Right?
Remember, he's capable of both malice and pity,
That's a good point.
which makes him a much more complex and tragic figure.
He really is. And think about Bilbo's encounter with Gollum.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pivotal moment in the story.
Yeah.
But it's also this tense game of riddles in the deep dark.
Right.
Bilbo could have easily taken advantage of Gollum,
He could have.
but there's this unexpected act of mercy when he chooses to spare Gollum's life.
It's true. It's like one of the biggest moments for Bilbo's character development.
Exactly. And that single act of compassion ripples outward, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It speaks to the power of our choices, even when we think they're insignificant. Bilbo's compassion for this wretched creature has far-reaching consequences, ultimately impacting the fate of Middle-earth itself.
Wow. That's a great point.
Mm.
It's like Tolkien is reminding us that even in the darkest of circumstances,
Yeah.
there's always a choice to be made. And sometimes the smallest acts of kindness can have the greatest impact.
It's a powerful message.
But it's not all riddles and shadowy encounters.
What else is there?
We also had the epic confrontation in the Battle of Five Armies.
Oh, right. The battle.
Talk about a clash of ideologies.
Right.
You have the eagles representing freedom and a higher purpose.
Mm.
The dwarves with their sense of justice and longing for what was lost.
Yeah.
The goblins and wargs embodying chaos and destruction.
Yeah.
It's almost Shakespearean in its scope.
It really is.
Yeah.
And in the midst of all that chaos, you have little Bilbo trying to navigate this battle of beings far larger and more powerful than himself.
Right. It's almost comical when you think about it.
It is kind of funny.
But it also speaks to something deeply relatable. That feeling of being caught in circumstances beyond our control, trying to find our footing amidst the chaos.
I think we've all felt that way before. It's that feeling of being an ordinary individual caught in extraordinary events, and I think that's something a lot of readers really connect with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bilbo never asked to be a hero.
You really didn't.
He was just trying to survive and maybe help his friends along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, he becomes a very different kind of hero, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's not driven by glory or a thirst for power.
Right.
His courage is quieter, born out of loyalty and compassion.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the aftermath of the battle. With Bilbo returning to the Shire.
He makes it back.
He does.
Again.
He might be home, but it's clear he's not the same Hobbit who left.
There's a beautiful melancholy to that final passage, isn't there?
Yeah?
He's seen too much, experienced too much to ever fully fit back into his old life.
It's true.
It speaks to that universal truth that we are all changed by our experiences, whether we want to be or not.
It's like he's carrying the weight of the journey within him.
Mm-hmm.
Those memories, both joyful and sorrowful.
Right.
And it makes me think about those souvenirs we pick up along the way.
Souvenirs, yeah.
Not just the physical ones,
Right.
but the stories, the friendships, the lessons learned.
Yeah, the things you can't leave behind.
Exactly. We might return home, but we're forever marked by the journey itself.
And that, perhaps, is the most enduring treasure of all.
I like that.
It's not about material wealth or reclaiming what was lost, but about the transformative power of experience.
I love that. So powerful.
It reminds me of a quote from Tolkien himself where he says, "Not all those who wander are lost."
That's such a perfect way to put it. Because even when we return to familiar ground, there's a part of us that remains forever changed, forever seeking, forever wandering in the landscapes of our own hearts.
That's beautifully said.
And that, I think, is what makes The Hobbit such a timeless story.
It really is.
It reminds us that even the most ordinary individuals are capable of extraordinary things.
And that even within a genre like fantasy, which can be full of epic battles and magical creatures, it's often the quieter moments of human connection, of courage and compassion that resonate the most deeply.
It's almost as if Tolkien is urging us to look for those moments of magic in our own lives, to embrace the unexpected adventures, and to remember that true treasures aren't always found at the end of a perilous quest.
Right.
They're often discovered along the way, in the friendships we forge, the challenges we overcome, and the ways in which those experiences shape us into the people we were meant to be.
Well said. And I do hope, dear listener, that this deep dive into The Hobbit has encouraged you to revisit this beloved story with fresh eyes.
Yes.
You might be surprised by the depth and nuance waiting to be discovered, the layers of meaning that perhaps went unnoticed on previous readings.
So until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those unexpected adventures, both within the pages of a book and in the wider world around you.